People are not just forming NGOs sometimes. There are other ulterior motives behind it that you and I don't even understand.
Mr. Edward Fagbohun. He's the head of program implementation at MTN Foundation. And today he's going to be talking to us about how to stay compliant as a non-profit and just ensure that you're on the right side of the law when it comes to anything you're doing with your foundation.
So I'm excited to be here. I love to be amongst people who are in the social impact space. The first time I got to know about SCUML was when I was a member of the board of trustees of MTN Cooperative Society, and we were picked and asked to go to the EFCC and sort this out. And you were wondering, well, we're just a cooperative society. The reason is because post 9/11, world leaders began to see how to nip in the bud the plans of terrorists across the globe. And they also discovered that a lot of them were funded through very funny channels. And one of them is through NGOs, because nobody ever suspected. Somebody has so much money, he just says, I'm doing an NGO or I'm running an NGO, channels the money through the NGO, and that money is actually used to finance terrorism, or the money is also used for money laundering. So that was why the world began to put its lens on that and say, look, we want to know what you're doing with money, we want to know how you're spending the money, we don't want to know who is even funding you at all. And that's why in Nigeria that came into effect. You are not safe when you are running your NGO and you have not gotten a SCUML license from the EFCC. Recently, somebody wrote to us, and I was very suspicious. The name sounds like an Indian name. And the gentleman said, please, I like what you guys are doing. I want to contribute to it. Please send me your account number. I live in Canada. I want to send you money. You know, those things sound good, right? And you feel like, wow. Imagine, okay, you have been struggling to run your NGO and you are thinking that, these children are going back to school now. Then somebody sends you an email from Canada and say, madam, I love what you're doing. Say, how many children do you have in school? You say, oh, I have just this. You say, okay, you know what? I'm going to send you $1,000. You say, praise God. That might be a bait. Or the guy might have even done something somewhere and he's trying to dispense or get the money out of his account and make it look like, after all, I'm doing for charity. But if anything happens and it is traced back to you, you are complicit. And that is why you must register with EFCC and you must obtain a SCUML license. So what is the mandate of SCUML? One of it is that registration of certificate. That means you have to be responsible enough to register. Another thing is that they have compliance oversight on your organization. They're checking out what you're doing from time to time. One of the things we also don't do in this part of the world, we are very poor with record keeping. You know, before the tax law came into effect on 1st of January, we started hearing all kinds of things and seeing all kinds of messages, even via WhatsApp platforms and all of that. People say, if you want to send money to somebody, family members, put description, put this. But is it a new thing? That thing has always been there for you to put a description for every transaction that you do. If you get to a point, if you don't have a SCUML certificate, as noble as your operation can be, as good as it can be, they can stop it. Then you talk about capacity building and outreach. So from time to time, they are supposed to come back to enlighten us. What are the new provisions? What are the new laws? Are there any new changes to the existing laws? What are the expectations from you as individuals? Whether nothing happens or something happens, just try and be on the safe side so that you don't become a victim at the end of the day. Lastly, data collection and intelligence sharing. People are tracking, they are monitoring. Money has moved from this account to this account. Then it has moved from this account to that account. What is it meant for? What has it been used for? You know, when the insecurity started in the Northeast, we started seeing a lot of NGOs going that way. Both local and foreign NGOs. The government of Borno State at the point said they don't want any NGO to come back to that town again, because they said that they were complicit in some of the things that were going on in that place. Would you believe that an NGO will be aiding and abetting some of those things? Today now you see all kinds of NGOs. Anytime somebody dies, one big man dies, the next thing is to form an NGO. How effective is it after the man has left? I don't know. But you see, people are not just forming NGOs sometimes. There are other ulterior motives behind it that you and I don't even understand. Sometimes people want to evade taxes, so they push funds into that place and they say, oh, we are empowering youths. So if they push, say, 200 million naira into that bucket, and they say, it's for youth empowerment, then they will spend 5 million naira for youth. empowerment. And they say, we have done youth empowerment. Where does the other money go to? I was telling Madam, I said, did you want to get grants? And she said, yes. The question is, a lot of people are doing good jobs. They are doing very fantastic things, but can they get funding either locally or internationally? One of the things donors are looking out for, and one of the things that will give you credibility, is something like the SCUML, if you are able to get it, and the other things which I'm going to speak to. Because nobody is going to just give funds to you. How do they track? How do they understand? How do they know that that money is used judiciously for the purpose for which it was meant for? If you want to stay relevant, if you want to stay here for a long time, you must not fall foul of regulation. So let's talk about some legal and financial obligations that non-profits often overlook. Do you know that I can wake up today and say, I want to start an NGO, and call the child and say, how are you? Have you eaten? And the guy says, since yesterday I have not eaten. And you're like, oh, you know, oh no, this is sad. No Nigerian child, and the camera is, you know, the camera. No Nigerian child should go home without food. And you raise a lot of emotions and all of that. And you say, all the children in this place, from now on, we're going to be giving you breakfast and dinner. And everybody will clap. Oh, nice, good. And sometimes even when some of your friends, they see what you are doing, they say, you tried though. You went to Oshodi with those children. You say, let me add my own 10 naira to it. Let me add my own 1,000 to it. And money is coming. Just that little thing you started. Money is coming, money is coming. But you see, there are implications if you don't put things in order. One of the important things to note is tax filing. You might still be a very small NGO and you don't have the resources to be able to employ certain professionals, but you can seek guidance. You can seek advice. What do I do in an instance like this? You need to understand what the tax law is all about. Talk to people who are professionals, who are tax consultants, who are accountants. I have an NGO. How do I go about this? Talk to your bank. But you must also know that tax filing is very, very important. Develop the culture of keeping records. Donations, put it there. Got a donation in January, 50 million, write it there. Out of this donation, we spend this for this, we spend this for that, we spend this for that. Put it there. Make sure it is documented. It will be useful someday. The anti-money laundering and SCUML registration, very, very important. And another thing they do is that there is a report that is demanded. Sometimes they don't ask for these reports. Just keep them. Just keep them. Don't say they don't ask for it. The day they ask for it, you may not have the time, and that thing can get you into trouble. So just keep the records. Imagine that you have some funds in your coffers as an NGO, and because you feel like, I'm not going to use this money now, maybe you have an excess of 100 million naira and you have something planned for December. The money can't just be sitting in your account, and you decide to go and invest that money. Government will collect money from you for that investment. In some instances, some people have argued that as long as the proceeds from that investment is used for charitable purposes, then you might escape the taxman. But we have seen instances where people have 100 million naira and they say there's a project that's going to happen in December, and we have put things together and it's going to cost us 100 million naira, and we have put that money aside. Then we go and invest the money and we make, say, an extra 20 million from it. And you say, wow, that's my gain. You put it in your pocket. When the taxman comes, you're in trouble. Because that money was not used for charitable purpose. That money has been used for something. Maybe you collected the 20 million naira and you decided to say you want to pay your house rent, not related to the charitable work you are doing. Or you decide to do something else entirely, not related to what you are doing. You are going to pay tax for that amount of money, that income you have got. So it's very important for us to understand what are charitable related transactions and non-charitable related. Don't say, I'm just a small NGO. Try and put things in proper shape. Try and keep records. Do the right thing to avoid stories that touch, like we say. Register with SCUML, very important. So you can't run an NGO in Nigeria without registering with SCUML. And comply with anti-money laundering reporting. Then create internal policies and enforce internal controls. You must have policies that guides how you operate as an organization. If it was your money, would you do it that way? So you must have policies like that in place in your organization and say, if we go to a community, if we don't get consent, we are not doing the job. There's this very popular story in the development space that we all talk about. So some guys from abroad, they came to a community somewhere, I think in the south of Nigeria, and they said these people don't have water. The women are always waking up very early in the morning, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. They are going to the stream to get water, and the water in the stream is not even clean. So these few guys just gathered together, called their friends abroad, gathered money together, had dollars, brought it to Nigeria, and they sunk a borehole in that community with a massive overhead tank and everything they did. Fantastic. And after they finished, they walked away. I think a year or two later, when they came back to the community, nobody was using that borehole. What happened? Why? The women are still going to the stream. What is going on? Nothing was wrong with it. It wasn't faulty. So they now began to ask questions and ask questions. And at the end of the day, when they got the women to speak, the women said, I will not go lie for you. That borehole that you people gave to us in our community, you put it in the wrong place. You put it beside the chief's palace. That's where the men gather in the evening and in the morning time, and all that and all that. And as women now, we need privacy. The only time we have to gist and to do whatever thing we want to say to one another is at the stream. So when you go to the stream, you see your friend, you see this woman, you see that woman, you will talk. You tell her about the pains you are going through in your marriage. You tell her how your husband is treating you badly. You can't do that by the borehole near the chief's palace. Do you understand? So we rather go back to the stream where we have privacy and all of that. And as far as we are concerned, whatever will happen to the borehole is their problem. It's not our borehole. So they don't have ownership of that. So you must get people's buy-in before you do anything. Don't just think you are. But those guys who came to Nigeria and saw it, they felt they were doing them a lot of good and helping them. But what they did at the end of the day was the waste of hard resources. Whatever you are doing, no matter how good it is it impacting the environment negatively? So whatever we do with our good intentions, is it impacting another person negatively? Then you are not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You see, people will say they are doing party. They will block the road. Then inconvenience hundreds of people in the estate, on the streets, and all of that. So as NGOs too, don't do that. Will spoil the environment. You are creating one, as you are solving one problem, you are creating another problem. NGOs publish what they call annual reports and auditor statements. You want to tell people, I am clean. The money we got in 2025, this is how we spent it. Mr. A gave us 20 million naira. Mr. B gave us 5 million naira. For that purpose, you must disclose. Misappropriation or diversion of funds, very common with NGOs. Very, very common. Using donor funds for personal gain or unrelated projects is unethical. Conflict of interest. Decision makers are awarding contracts or resources to themselves, family or associates. That happens a lot too. And you know that these things is eroding credibility, eroding trust. Sometimes we learn some things and it's not applicable in all cases. When I got married initially, I would just go and buy something and I come back home and I give to my wife. Surprise! Then she's like, what's this? Says, I wish it was black. I don't like red. Then I'll feel bad. You need to understand the people you are dealing with. You need to understand what they want, not what you think you want. So now when I want to do anything, I saw something, do you like it? There's a bit, she'll say, okay, I like it, but do they have this color? So there are times she has told me, they don't have that color. Okay, don't buy it. You don't buy it. And some people also do what they call surprise birthday for people. Better ask them. Some people don't like it. Or those who also do surprise proposals and embarrass themselves at shopping malls and all of that. And then people will say yes, man. If a lady who will like those kind of things, from the way you have been, talking with her, you will know. Maybe she has seen it done for somebody. You will know. How do you even know that what you are doing is reaching or hitting people? Some people don't have that skill. That's why you might need to consult, get impact experts to be able to measure impact for you, and anti-money laundering compliance and so on. The simple structures that small non-profits can implement. You must have financial management. That means you must keep Excel records and so on and so forth. Voucher. See, your vouchers and receipts, they can save you. Tax compliance, make sure you comply with it. Governance, all the returns you need to make, board minutes. If you have board meetings, keep those minutes. Keep everything. When decisions are made, they are very, very important. Questions or comments?